Imagine this. One of Hollywood's toughest, most iconic actors sitting across from a modern-day media personality, a man who has made his career pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo. What do you think would happen? The tough guy, a symbol of strength, grit, and resilience against the cutting-edge force of new age media, with its emphasis on inclusivity, sensitivity, and social change. You'd think it's bound to be a battle of egos, right? But there's more to this story than meets the eye. This isn't just about an interview, this is about a clash of ideologies, a clash between the old school and the new, between what toughness used to mean and what it should mean in today's world. What happens when the world's perception of strength gets questioned? When a man who built an empire on his sheer willpower faces an uncomfortable question: is toughness outdated? Stay tuned, because you'll be surprised at how one conversation can shatter everything you thought you knew. It was one of those rare moments in TV where the air feels charged, like a storm waiting to hit. The set was bright, the audience expectant, and the tension in the room was palpable. The cameras were rolling, and at the center of it all was Sylvester Stallone, the legend himself, sitting casually in a chair. His presence, though calm and collected, was undeniably magnetic. Stallone had lived a life most could only dream of, climbing from a struggling actor to an international icon, his name synonymous with the heroes of action films, from Rocky to Rambo. His body language was always that of a man who'd been through countless battles, on screen and off. Across from him sat Ethan Caldwell, a well-known TV host whose name was synonymous with hard-hitting interviews, a man who thrived on asking the tough questions, unafraid to provoke or challenge even the most established stars. Known for his biting commentary, Ethan had earned a reputation for making celebrities squirm. But this was Sylvester Stallone, a man who had been through every physical and emotional challenge imaginable. Would Ethan's words rattle him, or would Stallone prove he's as tough off-screen as he is on it? The conversation begins. Ethan's challenge. The interview started like many others with small talk and pleasantries. But Ethan was here for one reason: to test the boundaries of Stallone's iconic toughness. He wasn't going to let him off easy. "Ethan Caldwell, you've made a career out of being the tough guy, Sylvester. The world knows you as the actor who could take down anyone, the symbol of strength. But with the world changing so fast, do you think this tough guy image is becoming outdated?" Stallone's eyes flickered, his gaze steady and unwavering. He didn't react immediately, but there was a slight shift in his posture. It wasn't a challenge, it was more like a moment of deep contemplation, the type of moment you get when you realize you've been asked a question that transcends the surface level. Sylvester Stallone, outdated? I don't think strength has an expiration date. You can't just measure toughness by the number of punches thrown or the size of a man's muscles. Real strength comes from the heart, from within. Ethan, sensing an opportunity, leaned in closer. His eyes were sharp, his smile barely visible. He was here to make Stallone sweat. "Ethan Caldwell, but don't you think that heart thing has limits? I mean, you built your career on fighting, on violence. What does it say about the world today where violence is glorified in movies? Celebrated even? Isn't that part of the problem? People are following your lead, thinking that violence is the answer to everything." The room seemed to freeze as Ethan's words hung in the air. There was no denying the question had weight. Stallone's reputation was built on action-packed films, characters who solved their problems with their fists. Was Ethan right? Was that the message Stallone had been sending all along? But Stallone didn't flinch. He leaned back in his chair, his expression still calm, but his words were a different story. "Sylvester Stallone, do you know what those characters represent? It's not about fighting. It's about fighting for something. It's about standing up when the world tells you to stay down. And let me tell you, that's a message that will never be outdated." Rising tension, the battle of ideals. Ethan could feel the tide shifting. He had been hoping to throw Stallone off balance, to catch him in a corner, but Stallone was holding his own, and for the first time, Ethan found himself questioning his own line of questioning. "Ethan Caldwell, you're missing the point, Sylvester. This is about real-world consequences. There are young people out there, looking up to you, thinking they can solve their problems by hitting someone, by taking the easy way out. What does that say about our culture? About the kind of men we're raising?" Stallone's gaze softened, just for a moment. He wasn't the angry fist-pumping action hero now. He was a man who had lived through his share of struggles, a man who knew how to dig deep, who understood the real meaning of resilience, not just the physical kind, but the mental and emotional kind. "Sylvester Stallone, you want to talk about raising men? About the kind of world we're creating? Let me tell you something. I didn't grow up in a perfect world. I wasn't given anything. I had to fight for everything. And you know what? I'm proud of that. But that fight wasn't about punching people in the face. It was about getting back up after I fell. It was about standing tall after life knocked me down." Ethan Caldwell, So you're telling me that your movies don't send the wrong message? Ethan pressed. That watching Rocky or Rambo doesn't make someone believe that to be strong, you have to fight your way through life? There was a pause, a long one, a silence that made everyone in the room lean in just a little bit closer. Stallone wasn't giving a quick answer now. This was the heart of the conversation. Sylvester Stallone. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, it's not about the violence. It's about the journey. It's about how you get to the point where you have to fight. It's about resilience. Strength is about survival, but more importantly, it's about what you do with that strength once you have it. That's the real lesson. The entire room seemed to breathe collectively. Ethan, too, seemed to realize that Stallone wasn't just talking about movies. He was talking about life itself. Ethan Caldwell. So you're telling me toughness isn't about fighting at all? Stallone took a deep breath, his gaze unwavering, locking with Ethan's. Sylvester Stallone. No. I'm saying toughness isn't just about the fight. It's about everything that comes before the fight. The pain, the struggle, the getting back up. And yes, sometimes it is about fighting, but it's never just about violence. Ethan paused. The realization was beginning to hit. The world didn't need more violence. It needed more strength in all its forms. Viral fallout and reflection. As the interview came to a close, the world outside the studio was buzzing. Clips from the conversation spread across social media at lightning speed. People were talking, debating, discussing. Was Stallone right? Had Ethan been too harsh? Or had they both just touched on something that none of us really wanted to talk about? In the days that followed, the debate grew. People from all walks of life weighed in. Some sided with Stallone, calling him a voice of reason in an increasingly fragile world. Others argued that the notion of toughness was an outdated, dangerous ideal, but no one could ignore the conversation. It had forced people to confront their own beliefs about strength, resilience, and what it truly means to be strong. So what is strength? Is it the ability to fight, to punch, to stand tall in the face of physical challenges? Or is it something deeper, something less obvious, something more personal? Strength isn't about size or power, it's about character. It's about the heart and the will to persevere. And perhaps in a world that often seems more fragile by the day, that's the kind of strength we need now more than ever. If you've made it this far, let me ask you, what do you think true toughness looks like? Is it the strength to keep going no matter what? Or is there a new kind of strength we should be embracing in today's world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that challenge our beliefs. Because in a world full of noise, it's the tough questions that lead us to the truth.